Is it good news? Maybe. Is it bad news? Maybe. What's going on? Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hendrickson, and welcome to the show. If you're brand new to this show, then what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health, self-development, and getting your life moving in the right direction, a direction that you feel confident about, a direction that you feel like, maybe you're not in the best place right now, but at least you're moving in the right direction, and what you're going through right now can and will make you stronger, and life can and will get better for you. And if you're not brand new to this show, if you're a returning listener, if you're a returning viewer, then thank you very much for coming back and supporting the show, supporting this movement, and supporting this journey. Whether you're brand new to this show or not, if you are listening to this right now, if you're watching this right now, you are the reason that I do what I do. Yes, you listening to this right now. And so I'm going to keep this short and sweet today. Happy Monday. Happy Monday morning. If you're listening to this in the morning, hopefully this sets the tone for your day, for your week. And if you're listening to this in the evening, I hope that you had a good day. And I still hope the exact same thing. I hope that this sets the tone for your day and your week. But I just wanted to make this short and sweet little episode today. I'll try not to ramble on for too long because I know that I have a tendency to do so. But let's jump into it. There's an ancient story. I don't know where it came from. I've shared this before on the podcast in a couple of episodes. I think I spoke about it in an interview or two. I think I've spoken about it even on this show before, just in a little solo episode like this. But it came time for me to share this again because it was relevant in my life. And so I thought I'd just share this and share my thoughts on it and share a little quote at the end and hope that it, sets the tone for your day and your week, like I said. So there's an ancient story. I think it comes from China. I'm not really 100% sure with the origin, so don't fucking jump on me and get upset and get mad at me. But I'm going to try and do my very best to share the rendition of this story that I know best, and we're going to go from there. So there's this farmer, right? And he lives in like a rural area, and he's got like a farm, right? And so he's got all of his animals that he tends to. His son helps him out, and all of his horses are there. And his best horse runs away and disappears, and nobody can find him. And everyone in the town comes to him and is like, "Wow, that's such bad news." And he looks at them and he says, "Maybe." And then the next day, his horse comes back, and with it, he brings back a bunch of wild horses as well, making his stable a lot more full. Everyone comes to him and says, "Wow, you've got way more horses than you had before. That's amazing news. You must be so thankful. That's such great news." And he says, "Maybe." The next day, his son is out trying to tame all these wild horses and trying to get them ready for the farm. And one of the horses bucks him off, and he ends up breaking his leg. And the man has no help for the farm. Everyone looks at him in the town and says, "Wow, that's such bad news." He says, "Maybe." And then the day after that, the country goes into war, and the government comes around trying to conscript all the young men that are fit for war. And since his son has a broken leg, his son gets to stay at home with his father. And everyone comes to him and says, "Wow, that's such great news." And he says, "Maybe." And I'm not sure how the rest of the story goes, but I think that's it from what I know about it. And the reason I wanted to share this with you is because, we have a tendency to see the events in our lives and start to put labels on them. Like, this is a good thing that happened to me. This is a bad thing that happened to me. This is a good time in my life, or this is a bad time in my life. And we do this based on the emotions we feel in that very moment. We feel anger, we feel sadness, we feel confusion, we feel anxiety, we feel depression, and we think this is bad. On the contrary, we do the exact same with the opposite. We feel happy, we feel intoxicated, we feel indulgent, we feel any positive emotion, we feel lust, we feel comfort, and we think this is good. And a lot of the times, a lot of those positive, comforting emotions, they lead us to make foolish decisions, and they lead us down a dark path. And like I said as well, on the contrary, a lot of those negative emotions, those depressive moments, those anxious moments, those angry moments, sometimes can set us on the path of retribution and, correcting the course that we're on. And it doesn't always work out that way, but that's just kind of the way that I'm kind of looking at this situation right now because, like I said, we have a tendency to label these times in our lives as good or bad based on the emotion that we feel in that very moment. Now, I grew up playing rugby, and I remember in high school, I grew up playing rugby, and I was the type of person that, especially in team sports, when we would win, I would get super amped up. I'd cheer, I'd spike the ball. I was one of those guys that would celebrate hard, and I'd be really stoked every time we won. And anytime we lost, I'd be just kicking my own ass. I would just be like head down, feel all the shame, and I would kind of wear my heart on my sleeve that way. Like if by the time I got home, you would know if I won or lost when you looked at me because, like I said, if we won, I'd be like head in the clouds. And if we lost, I'd be head in my lap. And I had a rugby coach one time tell me that, win with grace and lose with grace. It doesn't matter the outcome. You should have your head held high. You should have your chest up and your chin up and just know that, you should seek refuge in the idea or the thought that, no matter what the outcome is, you did your very best. You presented yourself the best you possibly could. And you're doing your best in life. And that's basically the way that he conveyed it to me. And, like I said in the last episode, I don't even know if that rugby coach remembers me. Throughout all these years, he's probably coached hundreds and hundreds of people. But, I still remember that. I still remember that saying that he said to me, win with grace and lose with grace. And that kind of carries the same theme as the story that I just shared about that farmer with you as well. So I'm going to take a second to sip my coffee here because I didn't do this yet this episode. And if you listen to all the episodes, then you know that I kind of do this thing sometimes. I'm going to sip my coffee here. Let's take a second to breathe. Maybe you can sip your coffee. Maybe you can kind of just take a second to be present and maybe think about how you're feeling right now. That's good. Hot black coffee. Anyways, I just wanted to share these kinds of these stories and these quotes with you because a lot of the time I feel the same way. I feel like and I don't know if you guys relate to this. Maybe I'm just kind of alone in this, but that's kind of the reason that I started this podcast is because I wanted to share my thoughts. And so like if anyone else feels the same way that I feel or thinks the same way I think, then they could maybe think, hey, I'm not alone. But I just feel like I kind of label, events or periods of time in my life with the feelings that I feel at that time. I have a bad day. Even just labeling a day a bad day. Like I have a bad moment and I'm like, oh, that was a bad day. Or today's a write-off. Because I felt bad for this amount of time. Or during this moment, I felt negative, and so this is a negative day. And maybe this whole week is a negative week, and that's just such a foolish way to look at it. It's just like maybe 10 minutes of pain or uncomfortable. Maybe it's longer, I don't know, but who's to say that during the times of pain and discomfort that's not going to lead you down a good path? That it's not going to make you a stronger person, a more empathetic person, a more forgiving person, a person that lives with more grace, a person that can make it through situations like this in the future, a person that could even help someone else with this kind of situation in the future as well. and pay it forward. Who's to say that that's not a good, time in your life? It might not feel like it at that moment, but it could be leading you down the path of, like I said, retribution. It could be leading you down towards, a more positive future. And we're making the mistake of labeling, a period of time in our life where we feel something negative inside, and we label that whole period of time in our life as a bad time. I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad week. Oh, I had a bad year. But it's like that could have been the catalyst you needed to shift you into having a more positive life. And think about all the things that you went through in the past, all the things that you went through, like when you labeled other things like, hey, that was a bad year, that was a bad month, that was a bad day, that was a bad time in my life. And then think about all the good things that you have in your life right now, and think about it. Would you really be here today, where you are, breathing, waking up under a roof, waking up with food in your fridge, waking up with the opportunity to go to work, have a job, provide for yourself, with people around you that you love, that you can be thankful for today? Would you really be here today had you not gone through the trials and tribulations that you've gone through in the past? And didn't they make you stronger? And didn't they make you more thankful for the things you have today? I don't know. I wanted to share my thoughts because these are the kind of the thoughts that I'm going through today. I did a little bit of reflection today. I went for a run, and I went to church. I came home. I had a good workout, and did a bit of journaling. And this is where my head's at right now. So I wanted to share this with you guys in hopes that maybe if you're feeling similarly, if you feel like you've gone through the same kind of thought process before, that you're not alone in life, can and will get better for you. And I wanted to set the tone for your Monday, your week, because I have a tendency to get caught up in my emotions. I still wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do my best to control my emotions, but just sometimes it's overwhelming. You get maybe, and I feel like everyone's kind of susceptible to different emotions, but they all kind of stem from the same thing. And though I maybe feel like have dealt with anger issues in the past, or and I'm still kind of trying to overcome that. Maybe you feel a different emotion empowers you or overpowers you. Maybe it's sadness or depression, and maybe it's anxiety. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is. But I feel like even like with anger, like what I deal with, like it stems from other emotions. It stems from other, not wanting to deal with other emotions. That could be the root of the problem. And that's, why we get overpowered by anger. That's why we get lost in it. Or any other negative emotion. It doesn't have to be specific to anger, but maybe it's just a reminder that no matter how much progress we make, we're still always going to have something to work on. And if that's the case, then just understand that you're not alone. And you're going to be forgiven, and you're going to need to forgive other people. And you're loved. And though this week started off rough for you, it still has the opportunity to become a good week. You still have the opportunity to fix this and to make this better. So I want to share a quote before I let you guys go. And I want you guys to understand that no matter what it is you're going through, you have the opportunity to make this a good time in your life. You don't have to label this as a negative time in your life. So I'm going to share a quote with you guys real quick. And it's a quote from Seneca. He says, "How much better to heal than to seek revenge from injury? Vengeance wastes a lot more time and exposes you to more injuries than the first that sparked it. Anger always outlasts hurt. Best to take the opposite course." And that's a powerful quote from Seneca because, if you know anything about Seneca or any of the other Stoic philosophers, Seneca, he started off his life as a slave. And one of the first things that, I ever heard about Seneca is that his master, out of I think pure fun or joy, came to him and broke his leg. And when he did so, he was just kind of maybe hurting him. And Seneca looks at the guy and says, "You're gonna break my leg." He doesn't react with outrage. He doesn't react out of fear or pain. He just calls it what it is. He's like, "You're gonna break it," and the guy breaks his leg. And Seneca could have, reacted in many different ways. He could have reacted out of vengeance or anger and tried to plot to kill this man, but instead he lives a very solemn, kind of peaceful. Well, not really peaceful, but he reacts stoically, to say the least. And I guess that's why he becomes a Stoic philosopher. But after years and years, he gets his freedom. And then some other events happen to him, which you can look up. But, who's to say that if he reacted completely differently, that his life would have turned out any different? And I think that there's a reason why we still think about him and talk about him today after hundreds of years. And so take a page out of his book today and just think about the way that you think about your reactions or your emotions and how they're going to lead you to think about your own life and to lead your behaviors in the future. So happy Monday. I know that this was kind of a lower energy podcast, but I'm just kind of having a chilled out day where I do a little bit more reflection and think about my own thoughts. I've just been kind of working out all morning and just kind of, like I said, reading and journaling. And I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys today and just give you that feeling like no matter what it is you're going through, you're not alone. And I will check you on Thursday. And that's that. So I hope you guys have a good week. I want to share my thoughts and my feelings with you. And sometimes we're upbeat and we're happy. And sometimes we're lower energy. And that's all good. We're human. And I feel like it's important to understand that we're all human and vulnerable. And if you're going through a tough time right now and you're pushing through it and you're forcing yourself to understand that, because sometimes it does feel like you're forcing yourself to understand that, it can get better for you. And if you're doing that right now, just understand I'm proud of you, because it takes a lot of character, it takes a lot of strength and a lot of willpower to push through those tough times, knowing that it's shaping you into a better person. So I'm proud of you. And on that note, I'm going to leave you guys with that, and I will check you on Thursday. And I hope you guys have a good week, and I love you all, and I'm thankful for all of you, and that's that. So much love and peace out. Love you all. Bye.